Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Justin Cappuccino Sashes&Scripts, and today pag-uusapan natin ang nakaraang Binibining Pilipinas Grand Santacruzan and what are the things that we have observed, what are our thoughts and opinions regarding the girls who stood out in that event, plus some additional tips and tricks perhaps for some of the girls to be mindful of in their next Binibining Pilipinas event. But before we continue with the video, let me remind everyone to please subscribe to my channel and hit the notifications bell for more pageant-related content, as well as don't forget to like or share this video. Now, let's go now to the Binibining Pilipinas Grand Santacruzan. Now, after an absence perhaps of around around 4 or 5 years, nagbabalik ang Binibining Pilipinas Santacruzan, and it is one of those events that we missed sa tagal ng kawalan niya. And it is one of the most anticipated na events because this is the first of events and activities ng mga Binibining Pilipinas girls natin this year na doon natin na-start na makita sila in action. And it is, I think it was a great idea to start off the Binibining Pilipinas pageant season with the Grand Santacruzan simply because dito natin makita na sa unang labas pa lang nila in public, lahat sila very much up to the task of showing off and showing their best foot forward. Now, as for the standouts during the Binibining Pilipinas Grand Santacruzan, I will be naming them randomly. And I will be also giving some assessment points on their overall performance during that event. Now first on the list, isa sa mga unang-unang napansin namin was Stacy Gabriel. She is one of those girls na sa tingin namin, may pagka-alta yung arrive niya, and that's simply because, she seems to be coming from a family of means. And I believe that during the Santacruzan, her mom or one of her relatives asked and requested some of the boys escorts na lagyan ng yung mga portable na electric fan yung karosa ni Stacy. And that that is a very sweet gesture simply because in a competition like this, kinakailangan you have the full support of your family, and kinakailangan din kasi na alam mong they are backing you in this competition because this is going to be a competition that will be tough later on. Now, next we have Karen Lori Mendoza, who is arguably still one of the best faces in Binibining Pilipinas this year. She wore a very blue, immaculate blue na terno, and it really complemented her face and her aura overall. I think that during the event, isa siya dun sa mga girls who had a very glowing aura within her. Then we have, of course, Diana Maki, who we cannot forget simply because sa umpisa pa lang, doon sa may paglabas pa lang nila from the Araneta Coliseum, doon sa may entrance, nagpakitang gilas na kaagad si Diana. She's not afraid to show her moves to perform, and she was I believe the best overall performer that day, simply because yung mga angulo na ibinigay niya sa mga photographers, yung mga moments where she posed and really gave a performance, an MGI level performance, I would say. Kita mo talaga yung uhaw sa kanyang mga mata, and you really see in her the very fierce na competitor, and I believe that is going to be one of the things that we will be expecting more from her as the competition progresses. And I just wish and hope na masustain niya yung ganung klaseng fighting spirit because she has started the game at an all-time high. Then next we have Patricia Antan, who wore a very electric blue na outfit for the sagala. And one of the things that I really appreciated with her during the entire Santacruzan was that there was a point where nasira yung kanyang sapatos during the Santacruzan, and at that point dalawang beses siyang natumba, and she really stood up after that. Kahit man dalawang beses siyang natalisod, she was able to recover and have that Miriam Kiambao moment that she proudly said on her social media. And I am very much, proud of what she did in that moment, because pinakita niya na kahit ang init-init ng aspalto, nakayanan niyang ilakad pa rin yung duration ng buong Santa Cruzan. And one of the things that I also appreciated with this girl is that kind of going all in the competition. We all know that Pat, for short, is one of those girls na pumalit doon sa mga hindi nag-continue ng kanilang candidacy. And I think that yung fire na nakikita mo sa kanya during the Santa Cruzan is something that is really commendable as she progresses throughout the competition. I would also want to give a shout out to Joanna Day, who wore a June Samson Pugat na outfit, which was a marvel in itself, because yung kwento ng designer was that the entire outfit was made out of one single fabric and had very minimal na seams and construction, and to create something as couture level as that was really something that I personally as a former menswear designer am really very much amazed of. And one of the things that really tumatak sa amin in terms of Joanna Day herself is that the fact that kahit na ang ganda-ganda ng rehistro niya sa camera, mas maganda pa pala siya in person. And I think that is one of those things that you cannot really judge a book by its cover. Hanggat hindi mo namimit yung mga girls, you shouldn't pass judgment on how they look or how they register in photographs, because kung minsan mas maganda pa yung mga nakikita mo in person rather than their photographs. Then we have Elena Lagrini, who in most pageant fans is knowable under her Annalena Valencia or Ana Valencia na IG handle. One of the things that I wanted to point it out with her is that sana magawa niya ng paraan na ayusin yung kanyang IG handle so that it would reflect her her full name para hindi magkalituhan yung mga tao. And then the second one is that although that she really looks radiant in person, isa siya sa mga nag-stand out in terms of ganda lang, in terms of beauty of face. I think that there is an area where she needs to improve on her presentation. Kasi sa nakikita ko doon sa bandang huli ng Santa Cruzan, where all the girls were asked to line up on the makeshift stage sa harap ng entrance ng Araneta Coliseum. Meron siyang awkward angles when she moves, and I think that is an area that she needs to polish ngayon pa lang. There is roughly around 2 months and a week, I believe, for her to really hone that aspect. Kasi sayang yung ganda ng face if hindi mo kayang sabayan ng performance, hindi mo kayang sabayan ng giving the best angles, giving the best pasarela in the competition. Kasi sayang yung nandun na yung pundasyon, nandun na lahat ng mga retado. All you need to do is to mix them up para lumabas yung flavor, kumbaga lumabas yung potential ni Ana. And I think that is one thing or rather one of the areas that kinakailangan tutukan at this point. However, I still maintain the fact that she is probably one of the best faces in this year's competition. Then let's talk about Chelsea Fernandez, who I believe is one of the 5 top standouts in this year's Santa Cruzan. She really wore a very very apt na outfit for her facial features that really made her face glowing, radiant, and nagpa-pop out talaga yung ganda ng mukha ni Chelsea dun sa pink na outfit niya for the Santa Cruzan. And I believe that yung pagiging candidate number 17 niya is not a fluke. It is something na binabantayan ng mga pageant fans if she's going to end up as one of the main winners or even the winner of the Binibining Pilipinas international title, because for the past 2 or 3 years, lahat ng candidate number 17 na nanalong pambato natin for Miss International. And I think that is one of the things na gusto nating bantayan in the progression of the competition. But for that, for that event, for the Binibining Pilipinas Grand Santacruzan event, Chelsea really, delivered. She was glowing. She had one of the best, outfits at the Santa Cruzan, and she really, proved to be one of the biggest competition in this year's batch. Then we also have Richella Lehmann, who really was channeling Virgin Mary with her hair and with her whole ensemble. I think that a lot of people are expecting her to be more feisty, to be more for the lack of a better word, palaban this year. But looking at her in person, mas malumanay siya. She's more of the soft-spoken type na girl, and I hope na yung mga fans would not mistake her being soft-spoken as not being palaban, because I am betting that come yung mga major na competition na parts, doon niya ilalabas yung mga baraha niya. Then let's talk about Yadi Bashano, who I believe was right on the money when she chose a very underrated na ensemble for the Santa Cruzan. Kung titignan nyo yung kanyang outfit, it was a simple white sheath na terno gown or Maria Clara type of gown with a very Met Gala-ish na halo for her headpiece, and that kind of simple and minimalist approach in this kind of competition. You really need to have either the guts or the confidence to pull it off, and thankfully Gabi had both of them in spades. I think it was a right decision. It was the right decision to go very minimalistic in terms of her hair and makeup, na hindi siya masyadong nagpagarbo, because among all the girls, siya yung namumukod-tangi nag-stand out simply because of the simplicity of her entire outfit. Sa tingin ko, she's right on the money, doing a very underrated approach towards her campaign. Okay, so also on our list is Roberta Tapondong, who was really very impeccably styled during the Santa Cruzan. Isa siya dun sa mga girls na kapag binago mo yung styling, nagbabago yung aura at yung mukha niya, and I think that kind of versatility is something that is very useful in the long term. I think the way that she was styled really played off yung youthful vibes that I didn't know she can still pull off, albeit being one of the younger girls in the competition. I thought that yung nakasalayan natin na very fierce, yun yung madalas natin na nakikita sa kanya, yun ang makikita natin in the Santa Cruzan, which she proved us wrong, and we are glad that she did. Then we have two ladies on our list who we feel na super underrated siya because they don't have enough, or they don't have much fan following. First is Ande Mesa, and the other is Yana Adwan. Now, Ande Mesa has that alta bearing in her that makes her really a standout in a sea of girls. She has that very quiet na confidence and a very underrated na manner of tindig, na kapag nakita mo siya, you would really be amazed at the kind of poise that she has. And then we also have, of course, Yana Adwan, as I've mentioned. Yana has that Mutyadatul Eva Patalinhog vibes in her that could go either way depending on how she is styled. I think she is one of those girls na aantabayanan ng mga fans dahil meron siyang potential na hindi mo madalas makitaan sa mga candidates. And then, I would also want to mention Jasmine Makulangan as one of those faces na ang ganda-ganda in person. But she really needs to relax her face and really, really smile and really feel the moment. I think during the Santa Cruzan, there was something about yung arco ng kilay niya or something in her forehead that makes her look like the sun is hitting her face, and that makes her squint in her photos. And I think kinakailangan ma-address yon dahil
kapag rumihistro na siya in the in the scored parts of the competition, baka isipin ng mga tao na she's not really enjoying the moment. And I think yung a little bit of tweaking on the shape of her eyebrows would really do her a world of good, simply because it would help open up her face much more. I would also like to mention that yung red na ensemble niya as Rosa Mystica was really a good a really good choice of color for her, na sana in the coming finals maisipan niya na pula yung kanyang best color perhaps. I hope she really takes that into consideration. Then we have also Cyril Payumo in our list for being so radiant and magnanimous in that evening. I think for me personally, yung kanyang outfit is one of the best outfits during the Santacruzan, and we owe it all to yung designer niya, which is Rich Sabinian. I hope I mentioned his name correctly. Ang ganda nung rehistro niya in photos, ang ganda nung rehistro niya in motion, and the fact that she was very effortless in her presentation during that evening really speaks to the fact that she is a veteran, a pageant veteran. And then I would also want to mention two new names in the Binibining Pilipinas competition, which is Jasmine Omay and Nicole Romeo. Nicole had a very radiant and glowing na face during the Santacruzan, and I really loved the ensemble niya. It was a black outfit, and I think it was themed to her Reina Abogada na epithet, Marian epithet. And then also I would really love to mention yung kung gaano ako nagagandahan kay Jasmine Omay, who really was very radiant, very fresh, very young, and she was exuding that kind of energy, that that youthful vibes, the energy that you don't see in a lot of the candidates during the Santacruzan. Ma-mention ko lang sana na yung outfit niya was more of the mint color para mas stand out siya, because I think that the slate green was a color that medyo hindi bumagay sa skin tone niya. I think that mint or something that is much more cooler in nature would have really popped her beauty much more, and mas napansin pa siguro siya with a more minty, a more sky blue na color. And then I would have to mention as well in the list, of course, Herlin Budol. I think siya yung pang 15 if I'm not mistaken in the list, and nilagay ko siya sa huli because there is a lot of things that I want to discuss about her. Now, in terms of her outfit, ang ganda ng kanyang outfit, wala akong maireklamo. She really looked the part in the Santacruzan. Maganda yung rehistro niya in photos, and I really don't see kung bakit siya natawag na hipon girl, because with the proper styling, lahat tayo gumaganda. Lahat tayo may angulo na maganda sa atin, lahat tayo may angulo na hindi maganda sa atin, and I think it's just a matter of finding the right angles, finding the right styling, finding the right makeup that would really bring the best out of us. Now, with that being said, I think that Nicole is one of the girls na aantabayanan natin in the competition, because there's a lot of personality in her that we recognize as part of ourselves. Kumbaga, we see a part of us reflected through her. Now, the only thing that I need to stress out regarding her competition, regarding her behavior, regarding her demeanor in the competition, is that she needs to be versatile. Kailangan mas kaya niyang i-atake yung mga aspeto where she needs to be quirky, yung where she needs to be fun, as well as the areas of the competition where she needs to be very very serious. I think that the quirkiness is something that is innate in her, and I think that is something that makes her lovable among pageant fans, and kinakailangan na hindi niya ma-lose, hindi mawala sa kanya yon. But at the same time,
there are areas of the competition where she needs to show a more serious side, a more finesse and polished na side. And I think yung kanyang quirky antics during the during the Santa Cruzan was well and good, but there is also an aspect where she needs to level it up to show a more serious and a more refined and polished na aspect sa kanyang presentation and sa kanyang demeanor in the competition, because it is fine that you have a very quirky, a very very unique personality, a very outgoing and a very very masa na personality, but it also needs to be counterbalanced with a serious side when you are going to be serious on certain areas of the competition, like for example the finals, the competition proper, like the press presentation and the closed-door interview. So you need to be able to carry through without looking fake at one aspect or another of your presentation. So it needs to be cohesive and consistent with who you are, but at the same time, it needs to have a balance of sorts. I think yun yung kinakailangan na maibalanse ni Nicole sa kanyang presentation, sa kanyang demeanor and attitude and behavior during the competition, because I think she can win a Binibining Pilipinas title. Kinakailangan lang na kapag oras na kinakailangan niya magseryoso siya. Ipakita niya na she's in it for the win and not just for the popularity. Overall this year, I think that this year's batch is one of the most facially gifted na batch. I think na bloodbath talaga ng kagandahan ang mangyayari dito sa Binibining Pilipinas this year. Yung inaasahan natin na bardagulan na mangyayari is now happening in Binibining Pilipinas, because all of the girls are so pretty and gorgeous in person, na hindi mo masasabi na yung mga pictures budol lang. You can see them in person and would see na hindi lang manufactured yung ganda nila by Photoshop on the release ng mga headshots ng Binibining Pilipinas page. You can see them really having one of the best faces collectively as a batch in the past 3 or 4 years ng Binibining Pilipinas competition. And I think na this year mahihirapan tayo na mag-gauge kung sino yung pwedeng manalo, because ang dami sa kanila pwedeng maging next na Binibining Pilipinas Queen. It's just sad that there's only 4 titles this year, and we have like 20 girls that could easily be eligible for any of those crowns. Now, before I end with this video, gusto ko lang muna sanang bigyan ng I just wanted to tackle the rumors about the Miss Grand Philippines franchise being removed from Binibining Pilipinas on the year 2023. On my perspective, ayon sa pagkakaintindi ko nung rumor na yon, it is the imperative of the international organizations na tanggalin mula sa Binibini yung title next year. Of course, on my part, it's saddening because mababawasan na naman sila ng isang international title, but at the same time I'm also thinking that if ayaw na sa'yo ng isang tao or organisasyon, bakit mo pagpilitan sa sarili mo doon? I think that throughout the years, nakita naman natin na hindi naman basta-basta yung mga ipinadala nating mga girls sa competition na ito, and it just so happen na out of spite siguro ng may-ari, hindi niya talaga tayo gustong bigyan ng pagkakataon na manalo, even if nagpadala na tayo ng mga super lakas na mga kandidata like Patricia, like Nicole Cordoves, like Samantha Bernardo in the past. And I think that in any relationship, the moment that you start begging for attention, the moment you start begging for validation from the partner, that becomes a relationship that is not helping you grow. And I think that the best way, best recourse of action for that is to part ways. I think na
ultimately ito din lang naman yung gusto ng mga fans ng Binibining Pilipinas. I think that hindi magiging masakit sa loob ng mga fans na mawala sa Binibining Pilipinas ang pageant na ito. And if, other pageant organizations are willing to pick up the franchise, or other organizations are willing to put up a separate national competition for it, then so be it. Ang importante lang dito is that, you hold your head high kapag iniwanan ka, and knowing that the Binibining Pilipinas organization did what they could do without without dropping naman yung importance ng mga pageant organizations na mas matagal na rin yung existence at mas matagal yung naging relationship nila. I don't think that it would be in the good interests of Binibining Pilipinas org na gawing numero unong title ang MGI when for the past, from 1964 until present, very supportive yung Miss International organization to them, and very, very, how to say this, very fair yung naging treatment nila sa mga reps natin. And I hope na if ever man na may mawala, may pumalit. That's my hope. Whether it's a new organization or an old organization coming back to Binibining Pilipinas, I hope that it all works out for the best for either na pageant organizations. With that being said, I hope na nasiyahan kayo dito sa episode natin ngayon today, and I hope that you like and subscribe, as well as share this video for more pageant related na content. I hope to see you again in our next video, and see you soon sa mga susunod na mga pageant canaps. Bye, and see you soon again, everyone.